guys, it's Kene in my review for How to Build a Girl. So what How to Build a Girl is essentially about is we center on the character of Joanna Morgan, and she is your typical 16-year-old teenager, really not all that well respected within school and things like that, and, she has all these, fantasies of her becoming better, and one day when her father gets involved in this money scandal that basically puts the family into very dire straits in terms of finance, Joanna takes it upon herself to try to get them back on the right track. She takes this job basically as this music journalist and decides to completely reinvent herself. She starts calling herself by a completely different name. Her hair changes. She's now known as this character Dolly Wilde, and basically through this she starts to learn more about herself, hoping to mature and grow and figure out more about who she really is, and that's really all I'm going to say. So How to Build a Girl overall, I was looking forward to this movie. I mean, look, in the age of, the coronavirus and things like that, this is the kind of film that I definitely do want to see, because this seemed like the kind of movie that I probably would have seen in theaters, and I would have been excited for it and things like that. And, it was at, I believe, Sundance, not Sundance, it was at, TIFF last year, and I remember it got pretty good reviews there. So, and considering the talent and things like that, I was definitely looking forward to it. I wasn't, hyped out of my mind or anything, but it definitely was a film that I definitely did have quite a bit of interest in. And so I finally watched it, and I will say this about How to Build a Girl. There's a lot of really fun moments in this movie. There's a lot of things I do like about it. Unfortunately, though, as a film, though, I just don't think it fully came together for me in the way that I think it wanted to. I just think there are some things that this film overall could have done a lot better, and we're just getting to right now. Now, I'll say it off the bat. While there definitely are some problems with this movie, the one thing I can absolutely not fault this film for is the cast here, all of which are fantastic, especially Beanie Feldstein as the lead, who is just very quickly becoming, I think, one of the most likable actresses in Hollywood right now. She very much delivered here for sure. Also, because this is a very different kind of role for Feldstein. Yes, she's played these nerdy sort of characters before, but Joanna is a lot weirder than other characters she's played, and I think overall she just did a really good job here, especially once she transforms herself. I was very impressed by her here, and even at points where it feels like this character isn't really working, I feel like Feldstein was always up to the task, and if there's anything this film proves, it proves that she very much is a star. And moving forward, I mean, I'm just gonna be so hyped with whatever she does, because when she's in a movie, at least you're gonna get a great performance out of her, and that's definitely the best thing I can say. I think this film really does thrive off of her talent, and I think it does overall play to her strengths pretty well. I really did love what she ended up doing here. She was fun, she was charismatic, she had all the right beats in terms of likability factor, and just her performance I thought was very impressive throughout. I love what she ended up doing here. Now, as far as the rest of the cast goes, I think they also did do a really good job. The other big standout is definitely Alfie Allen, who I've always really liked him as an actor. I thought he was incredible on, Game of Thrones, obviously, and things like that, and this is a very different kind of role for him, to say the least, and we've seen him pull off comedy before. He was really funny in Jojo Rabbit last year, and he's definitely funny in this too. I definitely did enjoy him in this movie. I thought he was definitely a lot of fun, as well as Frank Dillane as well. He definitely was a very fun character to watch. And Paddy Considine, I liked as well as Joanna's father. I thought he definitely did do a very strong job here. The rest of the cast, again, not really the problem here at all. There are definitely some significant issues with this movie, but like I said, I think the cast is what really makes this film. Everyone really, I think, is doing the best they can with these performances. I think they're all clearly having a lot of fun, and that's definitely something I will give this film. But now we get to the aspects of the film that just didn't really work for me. The directing here, especially by, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name for sure, but Coky Giedroyc, I think is how you pronounce her name. I just didn't really think she did that great of a job directing this movie. She definitely does have a specific style. She's trying to not make this feel like a generic comedy. You know, she's trying to give something that's a little bit more unique, something that's a little more different, and I can definitely appreciate her for that. I just personally feel that her directing, it just isn't quite there yet, and I don't believe she's a first-time director. She has worked on a couple films before. She actually hasn't directed a movie, though, since like 1999, and neither of the films that she's directed are films that I've really recognized. She's done like a couple like TV gigs and things like that, but I really do feel she needs to do more films because her directing here just didn't work as well as it needed to, especially when it comes to the humor. Very few jokes landed for me in this movie, and that's definitely a significant issue with a film that is very much a comedy. I don't think her humor was very funny, but I also don't feel she had a clear direction of what she really wanted to do with this movie. I feel like she really needed to sit on it a bit, and it kind of just felt like it was very surface level in that way. She didn't really want to think it out as much, so she kind of just went for the safest route possible, and I just really feel that either she needed to be more aware of what she wanted to do, or the film just needed a better director. I don't really know which one it is, but either way, the directing just didn't really work here for me in this movie. The writing as well, I don't think is all that great. Now, I will say, the first 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, I actually was kind of digging. They do a good job of setting up Joanna as a character, the struggles that she endures, the fact that she wants to be a writer and things like that, and that she has these visions of other people that have inspired her throughout the years and things like that, and how she really wants to try and make an impact on the world, and you can really feel that. You understand why she wants to do that. You know, she's not very well respected by many people. Her family very much does care about her, but they're not in the best positions either, and her father is kind of scolded after what he gets himself involved in, so you really do feel that drive. My problem is, once she goes through that transformation, I feel like the movie kind of grinds to a halt after that, and just for me, the film stopped becoming interesting after that moment, and I don't know what exactly happened, but it really just felt like after that moment, they did not really know what they wanted to do with Joanna as a character. What do they really want to explore with her? What transformation do they really want to do other than your typical be yourself story? Because that's what this really ends up amounting to. There really isn't a lot that Joanna learns as a character other than the person that she's trying to be, is not her. We've seen this story done 1,000 times before where a character feels that they have to completely change their identity in order to fit in, and they have to do all these great things, but then they realize, oh no, I didn't have to do that, and it's like, we've seen this so many times. What else can you do that's different here? And what I thought they were going to do at first was the character of Alfie Allen, who his character, she clearly does have an attraction towards. There clearly is some sort of bond there. The problem is we don't dive nearly as deep into his character as we needed to. I felt like there needed to be a lot more there, and there just really wasn't. And I don't necessarily attribute it to the fact that his character was underwritten. I attribute it to the fact that this film feels that it needs like 20 other characters, and I think that's what really brings this film down for me. I think there are way too many characters in this film, especially for a movie that's not even 2 hours long. It's just a little over 90 minutes, and I think that's what really brings it down. There's so many characters that we're focusing on. There's so many characters that Joanna gets herself sort of intertwined with, and a lot of them just aren't that interesting. Frank Dillane's character especially, I didn't really see the point of. He seems like this guy that she's attracted to, but you already have Alfie Allen for that. I don't understand why you needed this character. He felt very unnecessary to me, and after a while, when she's going through this time as Dolly, what they're doing with her, again, it just goes in a very predictable direction. I didn't find myself caring all that much about what they were really doing with her, and I also feel the film just really overused a lot of jokes as well. Very early on, there's a lot of just kind of cringy humor that was working for me at first, but after a while, you come to realize that's all the film's kind of relying on, the fact that she's a little bit more chubbier than others, and so they're going to kind of poke fun at that, and I didn't really like that all that much. much. I didn't think that humor worked very well. But the jokes that really fell flat for me are this recurring gag where Joanna will constantly see these, like, visions of these writers and all these women that she was inspired by, and they kind of work as voices inside her head that will frequently come to life and call out to her. And anytime, at first, I thought it was kind of clever. I liked what they were doing, but again, similar to other jokes, they really started to overdo it, and anytime they cut back to it, I just completely checked out. I did not think that joke was very funny at all. I felt like they didn't know what they wanted to do with it, and I feel like there was massive potential to take that in a really fun direction, but they didn't really do anything that fun with it. It just kind of happened, and that definitely did disappoint me for sure. And again, the places this movie ended up going, I thought were mostly predictable. I didn't really find myself latching onto the story all that much, aside from one direction that, honestly, I just thought came out of nowhere and was completely unearned. The second it happened, I was like, wait, where the fuck did that come from? Like, I was really trying to get behind this decision, but I cannot think of one instance in this movie that was heading towards what we get to in this movie. It really just felt like they did that so she could come to the realization and learn the very surface level message that this movie is trying to go through. And I just don't feel it was executed well at all. I honestly feel that it kind of felt a bit tasteless in terms of what they were doing with this direction. It didn't feel earned in the slightest. It really came out of nowhere for me, and it just really kind of took me off guard. I wasn't really into that very much at all. Again, though, there are some things I do think this movie does do pretty well. They do a good job at first of developing the character of Joanna, and where the movie ends as well, I thought was actually kind of charming. I did like the way the movie ended. I thought that was well done. Despite the fact that they promote Emma Thompson as one of the big lead characters, she's really not in this movie aside from, like, literally the ending of the film. Like, she's not in this for a long time. So if you're watching this film for Emma Thompson, really not in it all that much. And I shouldn't really be that surprised because, well, it's Emma Thompson and she's, like, probably the biggest actor in this movie besides Beanie Feldstein and, you know, a couple others. But I was very surprised at just how severely, you know, how much they were, how much they wasted her in that way. I really felt there was more they could have done there and more they could have dived into on, you know, Joanna's job and what she's doing. And I just didn't feel this film dived into it all that well. So yeah, the screenplay here just really left a lot to be desired for me. The cinematography is pretty good here. Nothing really stuck out about it. I will say there are definitely some creative scenes, but nothing really stuck out in terms of that. I did think the score was pretty good here, and the editing. I think that's the other thing that does hurt this film. I really feel this film needed to be a lot longer than it was. I feel like it definitely did not go on nearly as long as it needed to, and because of that, a lot of things just felt like it just came up short. It felt like it was, you know, just kind of cut at the last minute. It didn't feel like it was as fleshed out as it could have been. A lot of things just felt like they were abbreviated, and again, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes of this film, but it does kind of feel like one of those films where it was initially supposed to be a lot longer, and I think if it was longer, I probably would have cared a little bit more about the story. Give it another hour, give it another 20 minutes or something, and I think this film actually could have been something really good. Unfortunately, what we have here is a film that is definitely entertaining to watch, never necessarily bored me, but focuses on a character that I just found to be kind of boring. I didn't find Joanna to necessarily be a bad character, but I just didn't find myself as invested with her, and if Beanie Feldstein did not play her, I don't think I would be nearly as invested as I really was. It has some fun ideas behind it. It has some really good performances from both Beanie Feldstein and Alfie Allen, but as a film, in terms of substance, it just didn't really do a lot for me. A lot of the jokes fall flat. There are many directions that the film goes into that I just did not feel were earned at all, and after a certain point, it just really felt like the film didn't know what to do with itself. Unfortunately, this film really did not do it for me, so I am going to give How to Build a Girl overall a C+. But over, guys, to my review, How to Build a Girl. Let me know if you guys saw this movie overall, your thoughts on it. We'll see you guys in my next video, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.
Moving on.